In this video, we are going to get introduced to geocoding using the Google Maps JavaScript API. So you're going to create a simple application where we can get the geographic coordinates of any address. So if we type an address there, okay, so for example, Madrid, and click on the geocode button, then we can see the address coordinates, and also we're going to center our map in that location and create a marker. Okay, try anything else. Okay, so let's create a new file in our file FTP and call it geocoding.php. Let's copy the content from the previous file. And change the title to geocoding using Google Maps JavaScript API. And let's keep only the code where we create the map. Okay. Now let's open our file. Okay. So first of all, we're going to create an input there. So it's going to be a text input right after the map. So type text and let's place a placeholder in there saying address. And also let's give it an ID, address. So the button is going to say this time geocode address. Okay, and we're going to create a function later to execute once we click on the button, and we're going to call it geocode address. Okay. So right after creating the map, we're going to define our function. Okay, so create geocode function. So first of all, we're going to need to create a geocoder object, as we're going to need one method belonging to this object. So before the function, let's create an object. So the method we're going to be using is the geocode method. Okay, so let's call this object geocoder. And we're going to use a constructor, which is google.maps.geocoder, capital G. Okay. So now let's use the method geocode of this object. So this method is going to take a couple of parameters. So the first parameter is the request. Okay. And the second parameter is a function which is going to have a couple of parameters. First one is the result. So you can call it result or results. And the second one is the status. Okay. So rather than defining the requests outside the function, we can just give the value of the request straight away here. So it's going to be an object, and we're going to be using only one property, which is address. Okay, so in our case, we want to retrieve the address from the value of our input. So you're going to access the input using its ID. Okay, which is address. And then we get the value of that input. All right. Now inside the function, so let's write the code to execute. So first of all, we are going to check our status. Okay, so if the status is okay, and the okay value corresponds to google.maps.geocoder status.okay. So we're going to write some code there, okay, and if it's not okay, we're going to send an alert message saying geocode not successful, okay, and we just write the status there. Okay, now if we refresh our page and try without inputting any address, we see that we are in the second scenario where the status is not okay, and the reason is we have 0 results because we haven't sent any address inside our request. Okay, now if our request is, or if our status is successful, let's have a look at our results object. So let's log it in the console. Okay. So let's click on save and refresh the page. Now let's write something there and click on the button and then F12 to see the console. So it's an array, okay? So you've got an object inside the array and you've got a few elements there. So we are interested in the geometry element, which is an object, and inside the geometry we've got the location, which has got the latitude and the longitude. So if we try to send an alert message using the geometry location, so let's write address coordinates colon and then followed by results. So we're looking at the elements of index 0, okay, which is an object, and then we're going to the geometry property and then the location property. Okay, geometry and then location. So now if we save and refresh the page, now if we put anything there and click on the button, now you can see our alert message showing the address coordinates. Now we're going to use the same value, okay, to center our map in this location. So to do that, we're gonna use the map object and then the method setCenter. Okay, and as a parameter, we're gonna put that value. So let's save and refresh. Now if we try anything there and click on the button, we can see our alert message and then the map is going to be centered in that location. Okay. Also, we can create a marker using the same value. So I'm going to create a variable marker I'm going to use the marker constructor. Okay. And we can place the properties of the marker straight away there. So the map is our map. That's the map object. And the position is that location. Okay. So let's save this and refresh. Okay, let's try something there. And now we are centered in New York and we can see the marker. Alright. In the next video, we're going to look at geocoding using the geocoding API.